out a window or something and go, hey, look, it is a nice day out here. That's kind of my plan. At some point, I'll stick my head out a window. No, I'll get out there this afternoon, see what the world looks like. Just get a piece of this wonderful day we have. What's it supposed to get up to today? 70 something, I think, right? Let me double check for us here. Right now it's in the mid 60s. That's great. 78 degrees today. Sunny skies. So may hit 80 if we get lucky, but it's going to be nice out there. So we've got all of our tomato plants in the garden now. Got all that done yesterday. We got some of it done the week before, but we're still missing a few. We have like 10 tomato plants this year. That's everything. Well, my wife's planting some like stuff in the house, like herbs, little herb garden in the house. She's like got some cilantro or something going now, and she's going to plant some things like that. But the last couple of years, I've planted watermelons, grown some watermelons. That's pretty cool. But this year, we're just going strictly tomatoes. So 10 plants will have tons of tomatoes, more than we'll want. So looking good. All right. How was your testing program last week? I know a lot of people, let's see, I still got people to turn in. That was an easy one because you didn't have to write any code. You didn't have to write anything. You just tested the code that I gave you, and should have been a pretty easy grade for the most part. You just have to test it. We look and see if we still have a bunch of those missing. Yeah, there's still quite a few missing. Now, a lot of you haven't turned in. I haven't graded it yet. I'll get to grading it here soon. But there's still several people, and it's some easy points because you're just copy and pasting my code into idle, and then you have to pick four numbers to test it with and figure out if there's anything wrong. If there is, how do you fix it? It's not like you're writing 10 lines of code to fix an error. No, no, no. It's not that hard. So if you haven't got that in yet, don't delay. Don't delay at all. All right. Let me get on to the right page here. Let's pull up our grade screen here in Buzz to see what fun stuff we're looking at this week. Oh, I didn't turn in my testing program. I was playing with that testing thing all last week and didn't turn it in. I will turn mine in right away. I got to get that turned in. The ethics of programming is this week. 6.02. I have an assignment for next week and the exam. I've added that into Buzz. You can't access it yet. I'll show it to you here. If you go down to the semester final, you got to enter a password. So hopefully you're exempt. Hopefully you're exempt. I don't know. I don't have all the final reports sent to me yet. I'll get the final reports. But let's talk about that since it is May. To be exempt from the final exam, first and foremost, you cannot have more than 4 absences. And the big one, you cannot have more than 4 absences in advisory. If you have more than 4 absences in advisory, you have to take every final. You can't exempt anything. Doesn't matter how many absences you got in another class. 4 in advisory makes you over plus 4, over 4. You have to take all your finals. So hopefully you've been going to your advisory class. But if you've been going to the advisory class, no more than 4 absences, no more than 4 tardies, although we've modified that last month to where you can have 8 total absences and tardies, but absences can't be more than 4. You can't have like 6 absences and 2 tardies. You have to take the final. But you can't have 6 tardies and 2 absences. So 8 total between absences and tardies, but absences are limited to 4. So if you've only had 2 absences, that allows you to be tardy 6 times. That's the only advantage there. The other thing is no missing assignments. So if you got a program you have turned in, and we get to the finals week, you're taking the final because you have a missing assignment. And your grade has to be 75% or higher. And if you've got all your programs in and you did them yourself and didn't let AI do it, your grade's probably higher than 75% because the grade that counts for a lot. And if you did that, even if there's some errors in there, you get a lot of points even if you turn in a program that has errors. So as long as AI didn't write it, AI writes it, well, then your grades may be well below 75 because you don't get points for that. But that's I think only the others no fines or fees, but we don't have any like fees in this class or anything, and haven't seen any reports of that. So I think that covers it for exemptions. I have that policy on Google Classroom along with the schedule. What do I have for our schedule in here? Our final is scheduled for Friday the 22nd. So 2 weeks from this Friday is the final exam at 7:15 during our class. 7:15 in the morning is our final on that Friday. Now seniors, and there are some seniors in here. Your finals will be like Monday and next week because this is the last week of class for seniors. Seniors, this week's assignment is your last assignment. Woohoo! And hopefully you're all exempt. If you're all exempt, then you'll be done Friday. You're exempt from all your classes. But like I said, I haven't got the report. I need to check in and see exactly how the finals going to work. I'm assuming that we'll just have the final during this class on Monday. I'll put a breakout room for seniors that have to take the final, and you can just take the final while we're in class. If I find out differently, I'll email you, but I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to need to do. So let's look at this week's lesson so we can get that done. Especially seniors, they want to get this done in a hurry because they want to be finished. 6.02, the ethics of programming. Don't be evil. Okay, that's just a good rule for life, not just programming. That's just good rule for life in general. Don't be evil. Google's code of conduct contains the words "don't be evil." So if you want to work for Google, that's in their code of conduct. But there's been a lot of debate throughout the years over what does that mean, and does Google even follow its own code? The question is, I guess, who defines evil, right? Because some people have different definitions. Google's official wording goes like this. Here's what it officially says: "Don't be evil." Googlers. So if you use Google, you're known as a Googler, right? Googlers generally apply those words to how we serve our users, but don't be evil is much more than that. Yes, it's about providing our users unbiased access to information, and they've really struggled to do that. Focusing on their needs and giving them the best products and services that we can. But it's also about doing the right thing more generally, following the law. They've struggled with that too. There's been lots of investigations, acting honorably, and treating each other with respect. So there's been lots of problems with Google following their own code of conduct. But don't be evil is just a great motto for life right there. Debates have surrounded Google's "don't be evil" statement. It has actively censored certain information in searches. So that hardly seems unbiased if it's, censoring what you're doing, especially in countries that have strict information laws. In 2013, it was also accused of avoiding taxes in the UK. Now, the UK has incredibly high taxes, incredibly high taxes. So I can see why they're trying to avoid them. But that goes with that following the law portion of their programming code. The question's simple, but its answer is complex. What are the ethics of programming? Because Google has an ethics statement that they don't even follow, or there's at least a lot of debate about it. After completing this lesson, you'll be able to describe the ethical responsibilities of computer programmers, describe various security risks and threats to computer systems, explain what enterprise software systems are and how they impact businesses, explain the importance of having a disaster emergency response plan, and identify methods to store and backup data. All right, page 2. Ethics for the win. A programmer's job isn't just writing program code, but also maintaining it, ensuring accuracy and security. Because programmers have access to lots of sensitive information, they have an ethical responsibility to protect user privacy and data. Just because a program can be written to do something doesn't mean that it should, ethically speaking, at least. Here are just a few ethical guidelines that the Associating for Computing Machinery Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct So the Association for Computing and Machinery, the ACM, is kind of the guiding professional organization for programmers. And this is their code of ethics and professional conduct. Number one, contribute to society and human well-being. That's kind of what programming is for, is to contribute to society, make things better, make life better by providing programs that do things for people. A programmer should develop programs that help improve society and reduce threats, making everyday activities easier. Avoid harm to others. That's in the code of ethics. Programmers have a responsibility to minimize the risk of harm due to loss of information by adhering to testing and design standards to avoid coding errors and security issues. You should be protecting user information in your programs in every way that you can. Respect the privacy of others. Programmers should create programs that maintain the privacy and integrity of user information. What's the difference between privacy and integrity? Privacy means you don't let people see others' private information, right? That privacy we understand. Integrity means that that information is accurate. If they save a credit card number, your program should make sure that number does not change. It doesn't get entered as a 7 and it saves it as a 2. The integrity is gone if the information's wrong. So privacy and integrity of user information, as well as protecting it from unauthorized access. Also, give proper credit for intellectual property. Programmers are obligated to recognize and credit any use of other people's work, even if it is not protected by copyright law or patent. It is unethical to take credit for someone else's work as your own, just like in publishing a book. And you got to give credit when you take things from other sources. Access computing and communication resources only when authorized to do so. Having access to information is critical in democracy and global society. Programmers, like all citizens, should strive for equal access to information, while also considering that access to information may not include the right to distribute it to others. Just because you have a right to access something doesn't mean you can tell other people what it is. Take a look at the following questions and let's consider this. If you were the programmer, would this be ethical? I'm going to open up the chat. So let me get your feedback on this. Is it ethical for a company to record information about a person's interests so they can make targeted sales suggestions later? This is a good question. I'd love to hear your input on this. Let's talk about what this means. You go on Google and you search for something. I'm searching for Nike tennis shoes. I want some Air Jordans. Now you go to other web pages. You go to your banking page. You go to Facebook. You go to Instagram. You go to TikTok, and you start seeing ads for Air Jordans. Why did that happen? Because your computer recorded the information about your interests. They saw you were looking at Air Jordans, and now you're getting targeted sales suggestions. Is that ethical? Yes or no? Put that in the chat. Because it's happening. Now, they're starting to put that in there because of lawsuits. They're starting to put settings in there where you can turn that off, where it doesn't save your personal information and do that. I don't really think it's ethical either without your permission. For the longest time, you were not given the option on that, and it just happened. But you'll see that all the time now. I'm gonna vote with you guys. No. Let's vote. And almost 40% of people are saying, yeah, that's fine. Look at that. The people that are voting, almost 40%. Along that lines, let me tell you this. You can go on YouTube and find videos. I have watched a video of a guy that says, okay, I want to go to several websites, and he'll show you his screen. And he went to like his bank, and he went to, he went to like 3 or 4 different websites. And we looked at the ads. He showed you the ads on those pages. And he said, after I go to his website, and he held up a little sign and said dog treats, right? He says, I'm going to talk about this afterwards. And he said, I don't even own one of these. So he said, this would not be relevant to my life. So he showed her the ads. And then he closed the browser, closed all those web pages, and he just talked. He had his phone laying there, his computer, and he said, I really should buy some dog treats. It's been a while since I've got any dog treats. My dog would like some dog treats, even though he told us that time he doesn't even own a dog, so he's never talked about it. Dog treats, and he mentioned that several times. And then he said, okay, and he went back to the website, and the first web page he opened had ads for dog treats. And then he went to another page, and it had ads for dog treats. And then the next page, I think, didn't. And then the fourth page he went to, it had ads for dog treats. Those ads in the margin and around all this place. So something was listening to him speak. He wasn't even typing a search. His phone may have been listening. His computer may have been listening. Devices listen to you. And I think phones listen to you a lot because they save stuff they shouldn't. And there have been lawsuits that get a lot of trouble with that. But is that ethical? To listening to everything you say and then so it can show you ads about it later? I don't think that's really ethical. But it's interesting. Look up some YouTube videos on that. You can find them where it happens. Little crazy. But that's the society we live in. You're being watched more than you ever know. All right, let's go to the next question. Again in the chat. Is it ethical for a programmer to reuse someone else's code to create a new program and not credit them? Well, this is kind of a no-brainer, right? I find this really cool program. Oh, that does some cool stuff. I'm going to copy all of that and put it in my program. Right. Now, that's certainly, I hope there's not many voted yes on this. Not ethical. I mean, you can use other people's program, but just give them credit. This section of code by so-and-so. Vote. Let's view the results. Oh, I see 99 people thought that's totally ethical. Those are the people that are also stealing from you and you don't want to be your friend because, come on, that's just ridiculous. Let's look at this one. Is it ethical for a cell phone company to create a secret backdoor for the government to access data as a matter of national security? Should the government be able to check people's phones to see, oh, this person was actually communicating with this terrorist organization and they're planning to blow up the Super Bowl. They're going to plant bombs at the stadium of the Super Bowl. They're planning with this terrorist organization and they didn't want to know that. But is it ethical? Should the government be able to access people in their phones? Should the cell phone companies have a way to get into your text messages and stuff? If it's a national security issue. Yeah, no one thinks that's okay. I don't have any yeses in the chat. This is a subject of a lot of debate too, because it's like, oh, yeah, that's it. Kaylee's saying I don't know, and I'm not really sure on this. If you know for sure it's national security, now you may break into someone's phone and find out no, they didn't have anything to do with that. So that's a problem. That's an invasion of privacy. But what if you do have a company access someone's phone and you find out, wow, they really are planning to, the next 9/11, they're going to fly a plane into the big building. I don't know. All right. We said mostly no, so we're going to vote no. Let's see what the results on this. This one's kind of split as well, 67 to 32%. So a lot of people say yes in the matter of national security. That one's kind of touchy. The hard part is how do you prove that you know that they're a security threat? That's the hard part. All right, let's look at our last question. Is it ethical to use personal information to improve the user experience without notifying the user? Okay, so it sounds like the website is using your personal information to improve your experience on their websites. Like, oh, I know that this is something you're interested in, so I'm going to show you this on my website. All right, again, I'm saying a lot of no's here. A lot of no's. All right, we're going to vote no then. Oh, this is pretty overwhelming. 86% people say no, don't use my information. So what this tells me is you guys are very much aware of all these sites using that. You need to go check all the apps you used in. Go to all your apps and make sure you go to privacy. There's usually a privacy setting and check to see if that's turned on or not. There's probably a lot of apps that are using your personal information or storing your personal information without your knowledge, especially your browsers, which you're going and looking at the internet. Go check that out. You may be surprised the apps that are tracking what you do. Let's go to the next page. That was the last poll. Oh, wait a minute. Each one of these things has been debated, and some of them happen on a regular basis. Some are even legal. Every time you enter your information online, ask yourself who's keeping track of this and why are they keeping this information? Did you know? Programmers can distribute their programs under different licenses for people to ethically use them in different ways. While open source software allows users to access and modify the original code, proprietary software is owned by the company and usually has restrictions. People can put open source software out there. It's like, hey, I wrote this code. Here it is. Anybody wants it, you can have it. You can use it. You don't have to credit me. I just given this to the world because I think this would help a lot of people. It's yours. If you have proprietary software, and you can even modify the code on that. It's open source. You can look at the program code. If you want to change it, change it. You can look at that. Proprietary software means, no, I own this. You can only use it under my terms. And then there's freeware. Freeware is software that's available at no cost. It could be open source, like maybe you can see the actual code and change it, or maybe you can't change the code, but it doesn't cost you anything to use it. You can use it all you want. It's freeware. Freeware. So searching for freeware software, you can find there's tons of stuff out there. Some of it may be open source where you can modify the code. Some of it may say don't modify the code, but here it is for your use. So public domain, open source, commercial license restrictions. Page 3. Protecting yourself. Spam, phishers, hackers. Man, there's a whole world of that out there. Seems like there's tons of ways to get in trouble online. If everyone behaved ethically, this would not be an issue, but definitely not everyone can be trusted. Let's take a look at some common examples and how to catch them before they catch you. And you find these in the news all the time. There are email scams. From Solomon Odawala to Michelle. No subject. Hello, Michelle. I have an interesting business proposal I want to share with you. If you'd be interested, click on the link. And this link here doesn't go anywhere. Congratulations, you've been enrolled in the Jam of the Month Club starting at $199.99. You'll begin receiving jams in 8 to 10 weeks. Just kidding. But seriously, next time, don't be so quick to click the link. Next time, you might not be so lucky. Don't select links of unknown emails because you don't know what's going to do. Privacy settings, that's a big thing. Make sure that you're on if you're entering credit card information on the site, make sure it's a protected site. It should start with HTTPS, not just HTTP. So if you have an email address, let's look at this one. If you have an email address you'd like to see one of these, scammers and phishers often send emails trying to get you to respond. Click on links, provide other personal information. Sometimes they'll disguise a scam by making it look like it's coming from someone you know. So if anything seems off, like the lack of a subject line can often be a clue, or the grammar's weird, right? English may not be their first language, and they've used AI to write it, or they're trying to write it with little English to know, and so it really sounds weird. It's like, what are you saying? Chances are it's phishing. Privacy settings. Here's the scoop. It doesn't matter how meticulous you are with your privacy settings and your password complexity if you volunteer personal information via the internet. It might seem like a good idea at the time to post a picture of your new driver's license, but don't do that. You've just told the entire World Wide Web of your name, birth date, and home address. More than enough for an amateur hacker to steal your identity. Don't put information out there like that. Sharing passwords. It should go without saying, but we'll say it anyway. Don't share your passwords. Most people use the same password for multiple accounts, mainly because we've got 58 different websites that want our password, right? So while sharing your Instagram password might seem like a relationship milestone with your beau or babe, you may not be as keen to share your bank account information, right? Many sites now allow and provide two-step verification by sending a text or an email, which is a good extra step to ensure your information is secure. How about this? Dummy sites. Oh goodness! Congratulations, you're a winner. Unfortunately, clicking on these online pop-ups does not make you a winner. These are usually easy to spot as fakes, but more advanced hackers will go as far as creating almost perfect duplicates of well-known sites to trick you into inputting your personal information. Hey, there's a problem with the bank. Your banking account's about to be locked up. Click here, and it looks like your bank's website, and they want you to log in. So when you log in, you've just given them your login information where they can get into your bank. Be on the lookout for inconsistent URLs. The website address is weird. If you're forced to navigate to an external link, look for the consistent copyright tags at the bottom of each page. But they can fake that, so really make sure you're using sites you know. Business security. Just like you have to protect your personal information, businesses are also responsible for keeping their information secure. On a business level, that information is integrated with its enterprise software. It's designed for organizations, not individuals. This is software that meets the needs of an organization. These organizations include businesses, schools, clubs, or governments. Have you ever logged into a portal to check your grades? Yeah, you do that all the time. You've used enterprise software. Hack is an enterprise software. This type of software performs different business functions like customer information management, accounting, file storage, and more. Enterprise software helps organizations function more efficiently because the software is built for business rather than individual use. I mean, the hack is built to allow students all over the state to log in, teachers to log in, to enter grades, students to see their grades, all that good stuff. In the world of enterprise software, many companies end up with access to a lot of information: email addresses, phone numbers, birth dates, social security numbers, certainly credit cards. A business has the responsibility to keep that secure. Otherwise, it could have catastrophic consequences. This I remember well. I was one of the 70 million people. In 2013, over 70 million Target customers had their personal information stolen due to a basic malware infection created by hackers. The data breach cost the company over $10 million in a class action lawsuit. Look at the math. It cost them $10 million, but 70 million customers were affected, which means every customer got like 16 cents. Actually, less because lawyers get a big chunk of it. But I will say that's the last time I shopped at Target. It's been 13 years. That happens from time to time. Companies, if they are lacking in their security, all the customers' information gets stolen. We had to replace credit cards and stuff. Page 5. Have a plan. Use that plan. There it is, the blue screen of death. Oh, goodness. Don't want to see the blue screen of death. Suddenly, your life's worth of photos and music and videos and documents and all the other files hang in limbo. Maybe they can be recovered, or maybe it's time for your machine to go kaput for good. Either way, waiting for one or the other to eventually happen is not the best plan. Think about how devastated you'd be if you lost all the files on your personal computer. Now compare that to Google or the IRS losing all of their programs, applications, and files. Luckily, they've got a plan. It's called a disaster recovery plan, to be specific. It's a document that outlines the procedures to recover and protect an organization's data in the event of a disaster. Which it doesn't have to be a hacker. It could be a fire that happens in their building, destroys some of their computer components. I mean, it could be all kinds of things. A water leak, anything that would endanger their information. Every company, nay, every individual should have some sort of a disaster recovery plan. I have all my computer files at home saved on a portable drive that has all my files backed up. It's not connected to the computer except when I plug it in to back up things. This plan is a set of processes and procedures that are put in place to guide a business or an individual in the event of a disaster. There's two types of disasters: man-made, like hackers, terrorist attacks, dropping your phone in the toilet. And there's natural ones like an earthquake, a fire, or a tornado. Explore the images below to learn about the different parts of disaster recovery plan. So backup. Having a backup of your data ensures that you can restore the files and get back to normal as soon as possible. Response. Within a disaster recovery plan, it's an emergency response plan. This outlines how you or your business will respond immediately after a disaster hits, and it prioritizes actions accordingly. Mitigation. Mitigation is an effort to reduce the impact of the disaster. In other words, be prepared with backups, checklists, and solid plans to minimize the problems it causes. Plan, redundancy plan. Having redundant backups means more than one backup and services in place is not only smart, but it's dead useful. Redundancy reduces downtime, allows for a faster recovery phase. And then finally, monitoring. By regularly monitoring systems, you can get ahead of any potential risk and know the moment when anything goes home. If you're not watching your system very often, that problem may exist for days before you figure it out. And by then, it's a lot bigger problem. Monitoring. Page 6. Oh, this is a great story. Back it up. Back when Toy Story 2 was being created, a single command almost derailed the entire project. In his book, Creativity Inc., Pixar co founder Ed Catmull recalls that someone entered this command apostrophe slash bin slash rm dash minus r space minus f asterisk apostrophe. They entered that on the hard drive where the film was kept, all the files for the Toy Story 2. This essentially told that drive to remove all files, delete everything from this location. And it did. First, Woody's hat disappeared, then his boots disappeared, and then the character disappeared altogether. Whole sequences of the movie were deleted from the drive. The movie started disappearing as this drive was cleaning everything off. Here's what's really scary. What happened? Naturally, they went to restore the files from the backup. Oh, get the backup because we lost a bunch. Their backup system had failed. Last time they saved it, it did not save it. They did not have a backup. Toy Story 2 was gone. They lost the whole thing, all that work. But they got lucky. One of the employees made an entire copy so she could work from home on it when she wasn't at the office. She had an entire copy of the film and she took it home and put it on her home computer so she could work on it at home. And she was able to go to her house, make a copy of it, and bring it back. It saved the day. They almost lost the entire film. Let's say it together. Back up your files. Do it right. There's two types of backups, as well as different technology used to store backups. Oh, there's a few different, not two. There's a few different type backups. There's a full backup where you back up everything. This is the slowest backup and the slowest in restoring data if it's lost, and it takes up the most space. But you need to do this at least once from time to time, a full backup of everything. After you do a full backup, you can do an incremental backup, which only things that have been modified or brand new is backed up. This is pretty fast because it only files that have changed is the only thing it backs up. Moderately lowest storage space because it only has to change just new files or change files. There's a differential backup, which means backup everything that has happened since the last backup. So it's a moderate amount of time. It's pretty fast restoring, moderate amount of storage. Or there's a mirror backup. It makes copies of mirrors, new and modified folders. This is the fastest and takes a lot of storage space. So whether it's a human error or a hurricane, having a plan with the right backups will definitely help. Not only does it reduce downtime, it also have you up and running as soon as possible. Select the following images to see some of the most common ways to store and access your backup data. Here is the external hard drive, like I have in my house. This traditional backup stores your data to local media that's external to your computer. You plug it into your computer and you save things. It could be thumb drives, could be an external USB hard disk, could be large tape backup devices, could be lots of different things. When I was in high school, I had a cassette player and I would save programs onto a cassette player attached to my computer. Network attached storage. This backup storage syncs your files and folders onto a storage device on your network. Only those authorized to be in the network will be able to access it. Now, I used to have that in my house for several years. I had a hard drive plugged into my router So any computer in my house could access that hard drive, and I could save files and back them up to that hard drive that was connected to my network. I need to do that again. I don't have that currently. A CD or DVD-ROM, those getting less popular. Most computers don't even have DVD or CD drives anymore. I have one I can plug into my computer. Optical drives like CDs or DVDs are ideal for storing low storage data. They don't hold that much. And things you like to share: music, movies, pictures, applications. They're low cost, but they have a short lifespan and they're pretty slow to read and write. So that's why they've gone out of use for the most part. And then there's the online services, known as the cloud. Everyone's familiar with this. This is the storage option that allows you to access your backup data online. It's accessible anywhere that has an internet. Limited storage space is often free, and then they want to sell you more and more storage as you fill it up. All right, that is our lesson this week. Let's look at the assignment. It's just the 5-question quiz. True or false? And it's more than 5 questions. There's no true or false. This is a 10-question quiz this week, and 3 of them are true or false. It's all about what we just talked about: protecting data, the ethics of programming, all of that good stuff. So shouldn't take you long though. 10 questions, and that's it. Seniors, this is your last assignment. If you're missing anything, go back and turn it in, because that's one of the things. To have a chance at an exemption, you can't have any missing assignments. So, all right, if anyone needs any help doing these programs, email me. We'll have our usual Wednesday, Thursday RTI day, which I'll be here, and you only have to be here if your grade's below 70%, or if you want help, come see me. All right, guys. Have a great week.